The American people seem to be in favor of universal background checks on guns. When you buy a gun, you need to go through a background check, even if it's a gun show and under all circumstances. Now, I say that because there was an earlier poll that said 85% of Americans are in favor of that, including 85% of Republicans. There's a new poll by the CBS New York Times, and they say 92% of Americans are in favor of universal background checks. So now the Republicans are opposed to that, so that is not going to work out well for them politically. Now, some are sticking to their guns, if you will. Senator Orrin Hatch says, no, I'm not in favor of that. Senator Thad Cochran says, I don't know how much tighter these background checks can be. Well, you don't cover 40% of the gun sales, so I guess they could be 40% tighter. Right? Only 60% of the guns right now that are bought go through a background check. The other 40% are through private sales, internet, and gun show loophole. Right? So some are not bending, but others are beginning to realize the political reality, and they're like, man, being opposed to 92% of people, that's not sitting well. Now, why are they? If they're politicians and they're representatives, shouldn't they say, well, obviously the people that I represent want it? People they represent are donors, in this case gun manufacturers, so they enjoy all the massacres and all the shootings. It leads to people to buying even more guns, right? And they want the gun manufacturers to be able to sell to the Mexican drug cartels and to everybody else because they don't want to go through background checks, and they sell 40% more guns by doing that, right? So that's the reality of it. That's why they're not in favor of it, even though 85% of Republicans at a minimum are in favor of a universal background check. So when confronted with this, they have amusing answers. Huffington Post asked James Inhofe of Oklahoma. He said, I don't know what you mean. Well, it's not that complicated. Are you in favor of a universal background check? He immediately dove into a lunch he was having with fellow senators and refused to say anything more than that. Well, they asked Bob Corker of Tennessee. He said, I need to have more details. I just need to, you need to ask me after I've talked to our judiciary staff in our office. I don't want to be on the record. Okay, I mean, I get my money from those guys. On the other hand, I guess I need a couple of votes to get reelected. Oof, I'm in a tough spot here. I'll get back to you. But my favorite is John Barrasso from Wyoming. He says, I've got my wife's here. I'm sorry, I've got thanks. In other words, whoever wants to stay. Whoever want to run. And all these guys are running for the hills. They don't want to answer the question because they know that their position is deeply unpopular.